Dan Scripps is chair of the Michigan Public Service Commission. They oversee electric and natural gas companies throughout the state of Michigan. They also hear from various community members about complaints and concerns when it comes to their electric companies and where their responsibility lies for maintaining trees. What are the responsibilities of homeowners versus power companies versus the government when it comes to keeping vegetation clear of the lines?
Yeah, this is something that's not really well understood. So the utilities have responsibility for their systems up to the point at the pole where we call them service drops within industry language, but from the pole to the customer's house is the responsibility of the customer under our rules.
Scripps says oftentimes that's not well understood. He also says it's often difficult and expensive to get someone to complete tree trimming. It's why he says MPSC encourages utilities in Michigan to look at pilot projects to address those parts of the system.
Because, often those are the places where you go from a one-day outage or a couple of hours after a storm to something that goes on for 3, 4, 5, sometimes even longer days, because it's just one customer at the end of the line, and it's the line from their house to the pole.
Professor Lawrence Kahn is the developer of the Twolane Vegetation Management Initiative, a joint project at the law school that trains students in vegetation management, practices, and procedures. It's the first comprehensive study of these laws throughout North America. Would a utility company sometimes argue that it falls on the consumer to obviously take care of the tree that's on their private property?
Yes, and sometimes the utility is correct in that regard.
Kahn says the utility would have to ask permission, and only if the owner grants it can they do the work.
So these kinds of decisions by an individual property owner can have enormous repercussions.
Whether the responsibility is on the homeowner or the utility company, consumers tell Investigate TV they want to know they can rely and trust their power company when they feel powerless. For the residents who sadly have told me that when the wind blows, they get nervous in Detroit, and not just in Detroit, but other places, what would your message be to consumers who are worried about that?
Yeah, I think it's that we share the concerns, that we've been aware and have been taking steps over the last 5 years to try and make improvements. I think we're starting to see some results, but I also know very clearly that we've got a long ways to go. I would just say that we are intensely focused on this issue of distribution reliability and are using every tool in our toolbox to try and make improvements.